Welcome back to the channel, and today Instruments of Destruction has gotten a huge update. Oh, I'm sorry, what, that thing? Oh no, that old thing? That's something I built in the last episode. That was pre-update. So anyway, as of recording this, a bunch of new stuff has just been added to this game, including some new parts, and more importantly and significantly, this game now has logic in it. You may notice that there's actually more categories of parts in here, and this is a whole new part that I still have to learn how to use this. I'm not quite sure how to use logic yet, but we're gonna play around with it a little bit in this episode, as well as some of the new parts, just to see what is available now and what kind of ideas it might inspire. So think about, if anything comes to mind as you're watching me point out the new parts, leave some comments on what you'd like to see in future episodes. So let's go ahead and explore and see what has been newly added to this game. I think one of the new parts actually is this quad split S. It might look like a really weird part, but I can already see an interesting use for that. Like here, I'll use this Y split to start off with. So then what I'm thinking is an interesting use of these quad pieces, because right now if I build off of this with like a small part like that, I'm just building straight off of the center. Or like say in the there's now a weapon option that has all the cannons and stuff. If I want to add cannons to this thing, you can see I can just add that one cannon. But if I do a fast swivel right here and then I put a quad split, now centered on that fast swivel, I can have 4 cannons like this. Oh yeah, there we go. And then I'll put the refire rate way down. We'll have it on automatic. And then now let's see what happens when I press E. Oh my goodness, I forgot that recoil was a thing. I'm dead. Oh, you see, that's where the attacher comes into play. There we go. Now I can attach this thing to the ground, and then I can fire as much as I want with minimal effect of the recoil. All right, but how do I can also make these spit. Oh yeah, there we go. Let's actually hook those up to the same button. Oh, I just noticed I can make these tiny. Oh, that is so nice. I like that. I didn't even realize that I accidentally did that by pressing the wrong button. All right, so now if I attach myself to the ground, oh my goodness, look at what happens when I spin them. Oh, it is so inaccurate now. It seems that the projectiles actually maintain some of that rotational force as it ejects out, which is interesting. But man, we are just Swiss cheesing these buildings. Okay, but this was a boring part compared to what else has been added to this game. I think this sliding pipe is new. Oh, look at that. Yeah, it contracts, it expands. So this is like a free sliding pipe. It doesn't have controls. So if you want something that just was able to like move, kinetic sculptures would be awesome with the sliding pipes, actually. You could do some really cool stuff. You know what? I gotta try something right now, actually. Let's add our attachment point. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah, so you can definitely, I mean, they should be rotating opposite directions, but I didn't set them up that way. But you can see what I mean. You could create some really cool visuals by utilizing parts like these. All right, but we still got cooler parts to look at. So now we have the logic section, this right here. And I might not know completely how to utilize this quite yet, but I also just realized that one of the reasons for this quad split is actually to give yourself more room for logic panels. Because you can see if I put a logic gate down here, that's the size of the logic gate. So I can put 4 logic gates there instead of just having that one. And what is this? Size preference, normal, larger? What does larger look like? Wait, why does that look the same to me? Smaller size preference. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how those work. But we have logic gates, and you can see it adds this section up into the controls. I'm still not entirely sure how to best use this, but if you click on it, it changes them. Oh, and it tells you, ooh, oh, it gives you like an indicator here. Interesting. Yeah, so you can change all of these. Controls, secondary controls, and then the final leads you into the output. Okay, that's interesting. So I believe that is essentially what all of these are essentially logic key binding. So instead of pressing a key to do an action, I can have it be triggered by logic instead by assigning it one of these. Oh, I'm actually noticing when this logic gate is outputting a signal, it actually lights up. So it gives you a visual indicator. So you can see, if you look at these lines up here, this gate is going to these controls. So Y and H should trigger the AND gate. That should apply to, oh yeah, that applies to all of those. Good. Oh, and each one of these lights indicates one of the inputs. I see. So the top two are for the primary controls, and then I'm assuming these bottom two are secondary controls if we wanted to have 4 buttons to control one thing. All right, so let me see if I can try just a simple experiment to see if I understand how this works. I want to pretend like if I press W and A, so something where if I was going forward and turning, only then do I want it to trigger the logic gate. That could work for like a blinker system, because actually there's a basic light now. Oh, you know what? Might as well, let's just attach a light on here. How about that? So we're gonna have a light right there. If I click always on, oh, that's a red. Can we change the color? I'm sure we can change the color of it. Oh, hue. There we go. Let's turn it always on. And then we change the, oh, we have RGB, full RGB. That's great. It'd be cool if we could control the RGB somehow. Strength, brightness. Oh, wow. Saturation. So if I go to like a hot pink and then I lower the saturation, it essentially becomes white. This is really cool. I didn't realize we would have this much control over the lighting. So let's say I have the input. This is where I'm a little bit confused. If I wanted to take an output from this first logic gate, let me get rid of these other logic gates so I'm just not confused at all. So I'm gonna have these outputs to L1 and 0, maybe. So we have WS, but then we also have A and D. So I think that logic gate should turn on only if I press both, right? So we can see if I press W and S, nothing happens. If I press A and D, it doesn't happen. But if I hold W and, oh, I think I now have it set up so that it has to be all of them. Yep. So if I want it to be either, then I can set both of these to OR gates. And then we have an AND gate. So now, if I press W and S, you see the light doesn't go up. This one, the light doesn't go up. Both of those, light doesn't go on. But if I press one of each, now the light goes on. So yeah, if there's one of the top two and one of the bottom two, only then will it send an output signal. So now, how do I route that to the light? Let's find out. So these are outputting to L1 and L0. So I assume if I click on the light and I do the inputs to L1 and make sure that's not always on, is that enough to make it work? Does that make it work? Ready? Oh, that was it. I figured it out. That wasn't so hard. Like, I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was intuitive enough for me to just kind of get there on my own. So we officially have logic. This is only working if I press a combination of forward, back, and left and right. Okay, but we got more than that. We also have a logic timer. So this is brand new. Oh, everything here is brand new. We can delay time. Looks like up to 5 seconds. Hold duration. So I guess maybe, I don't know. This is kind of some complicated stuff. We can probably cause the light to flash after it's been triggered. So let's put the delay time by like 0.6. It'll stay on for 1 second. Repeat it 4 times. Repeat time is half a second. I don't know what strict delay mode is. So that means I need to have the input be these logic things, and then its output is going to be a separate set of logic here. So this is actually kind of limiting, believe it or not. These logic outputs we only have 30 options. So now if I switch that to be controlled by the timer, let's see what it does. So this should only activate if I press W and A. Okay, and if I let go, it stops. So wait, I'm essentially creating a blinker. I just said you could use it as a blinker, and I didn't even plan to do it, but I'm creating a blinker. So blinkers go a little bit faster than that. So let's have no delay time. We're just gonna have it instantly turn the blinker on, and then it's gonna be on for like half a second, and then repeat it pretty much until I stop pressing it, I hope. All right, so now, yeah, maybe a little bit faster. Let me turn the repeat timer all the way down. What does that do? That makes it so that there's no time in between the repeats, it seems like. All right, let's do 1/3 of a second. Okay, so the repeat timer is essentially how long does it stay off? So that actually makes it really easy to have it go off for a different amount of time than it goes on. See, look at that. You could create all kinds of visuals with these lights. Imagine the ships that people are going to have with just rows of LED lights that are blinking with cool patterns. Like, you could create such cool patterns with this stuff. I just don't know if there's an easy way to chain this stuff together or not. There we go. So now I got it more out of like a blinker level, and it only activates when I'm putting on the gas and I'm steering. If I had those controls, you can see my controls down here. W and D, W and A, S and A, S and D, but it doesn't do it when it's just that stuff alone. Okay, but that's not all we have. We also have a distance sensor. Activate mode altitude or proximity. So you could set it to activate at a certain altitude for flying creations. You can have like landing gear go up after it reaches a certain altitude, or you can set it to proximity. I guess let me put it on the inside here and see what happens when I rotate these. So now I can see the light is on. But then if I rotate, okay, and then the light turns off. So yeah, you can see, oh, it's even oh, what is it? It must be detecting like this tree or something. What are you detecting? It must be the tree. That's a really long distance. So yeah, then you could just use that to have a similar output into logic, or I could have that output into the light as well. Fall off and this is interesting. Fall off, start, and max distance. I actually don't really know what fall off means as far as this goes. I'm sure I'll figure it out at some point, but we have another part, and that is the direction sensor. So this one I'm kind of curious about. So motion direction. Oh, okay. Any direct, woo. So this is apparently a movement sensor. Wait, sensor? What? West, south, east, north, down, up, any, and then sensor. What does sensor mean? I thought there was a sensor. Oh, okay, I looked at the notes and I think what sensor is whatever direction this is facing, it measures your speed. So if I set it on this side, does that rotate in the right direction? There we go. So that is, oh, there we go. Now it's outputting, wait, I don't even know what I have it set to. It seems to only go when I'm going up. When it is going up is when it seems to be sending out a signal. So is that accurate? Oh, it is. So now if I change it to down, it should only light up when it is on the downswing. So now if I rotate, you can see, oh, it's facing down. Oh, so this isn't even a speed sensor to get down. This is just a directional sensor of what the face of it is looking at. Okay, I was a little bit confused. I thought it was only going to activate if there's a motion in the down direction, but no, this is just facing in the down direction. That is actually really useful. So then, if I have it on any, what is it gonna do with any? Is it just gonna be on? I don't understand. If it's facing in any direction, it's on. Oh, but we have to put, oh, I had the speed limit on 0. So now if I put the speed limit on 20. Yep. Now, if it moves in any direction. So I was right about what I said before. It will activate going a certain speed only in that direction, but I had the speed to 0. So it essentially becomes an orientation sensor instead of a speed sensor or motion sensor if you set the speed to 0. So that's actually really useful. Yep, and then there you have it. Now I have it on any direction. So, oh, I have it at the perfect speed. So it's actually, when it's close to the center of rotation, it's not moving fast enough to trigger the light. And then as it moves away from the center of rotation, it actually breaks that speed threshold. That was a happy accident. That's really cool. So I believe everything that I've just tested out pretty much covers all of the new additions in this update as far as parts goes. I know that there's some functionality that's been added to certain things that I'm not as familiar with. But obviously the logic is the big game changer here, and this isn't all the logic that's going to be implemented. Apparently this is just some basic logic to get started, but there is plans for some more logic stuff to be added in. And this is, I liked how you could just click on it and it just changes. You can just change it without actually replacing a part. It's all in one part. That I really like that. So what do you think is now possible that wasn't possible before that you'd like to see me try out? Keep in mind my, level of skill in this game. I cannot wait to start playing more with some of this stuff. Unfortunately, I only had time just to give a brief overview of what is new in this update because today has just been a crazy day. And speaking of, I do want to give a shout out to everyone who was there for the Caterin premiere today of the new single Void Hollow, which in case you don't know what I'm talking about for some reason, I just released a new metal song on my music channel that I've been working on for for the past 7 months or so. So yeah, big thanks to everyone who shared that experience with me. It was the highlight of my year, actually. I was gonna say my day or my week, but no, I've been working on that thing for so long, and I'm so glad that so many people showed up to experience it with me, and it's now out there in the world, and I feel like I can relax a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely go check out my Catarynth channel if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future experiments in Instruments of Destruction, as well as other awesome content. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.